This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon and happy Martin Luther King Day to each and every one of you. We thank you all so much for joining us today. And so, if you do not know, I am Iris Denise Owens, your host of the Autopsy of Her Healing, Evolving, and Resiliency. And on the line with me today is my beautiful sister. Good afternoon, honey bunny.
Good afternoon, honey bunny. Stephanie Deani Green.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. What a wonderful day it is. Even though it's rainy, cloudy, snowy, whatever it is, it's still a wonderful day.
Absolutely. And so, to our audience who's joining us today, again, we thank you all so much. We have a wonderful guest with us today. We have an author on the line with us today, and we are going to jump right in. Our guest today is Mr. Milton Broughton, and he has a book that he has written. Well, this is one of his books because I think this would be, is this number 9?
8.
8. Okay, so this
wow.
is book number 8.
Okay. I gotta check the rest of them out. Okay.
And so this book is entitled When the Sugar is Out of the Cake. So, ladies, gentlemen, prepare yourself for a wonderful, wonderful, mind-blowing conversation, because this title alone, if you haven't figured it out, you will as we jump into this. So good afternoon, Milton. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon. I'm great. I'm wonderful. I'm just glad to be here and be with you two ladies, lovely ladies.
Thank
you and stuff like that. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely.
I am definitely excited.
Yes. Well, so are we. And so just to give the audience a little bit of history. So Milton and I know each other. Milton is one of the barbers, so that's Milton's other life, right? At my barbershop that I've been going to, my barber and I have been partners for 16 years. And I think at this point, I've probably known Milton probably about 8 or 10 of those.
Yeah, wow.
Something like that, right, Milton?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I remember when Milton first told me that he was writing books. And I had never had the pleasure of reading any of his books. But then when we were talking one day and I told him, I said, I have a podcast. And I said, we'd love to have you on. And so this is how we got here. Also, Milton he wears many different hats. Milton and I have also ran into one another at church, as you are a minister, are you not, Milton?
I am.
All right. So I love the fact that you have all these different dynamics, which is what we are always looking for, because we believe that life is ever evolving. And so I love that you have all these different facets of you, right?
The diamonds.
Yes.
The
diamonds. So we're looking forward to you sharing these diamonds, these nuggets today with us. And of course, you're also a part of our men's series. So we are so excited to have you, and we're going to jump in and get started. So tell me, Milton, when the sugar is out of the cake, how did this come about?
When the sugar is out of the cake, it really came about, I am a complete romanticist anyway. Uh-huh. I share some other books with you, we might get into it, about a little romance. And what happened with the sugar out of the cake, I be trying to help people and talk about things.
I have that one too.
Yeah, but what actually happened was, in my last marriage, I was married, and I was saying I'm gonna write something because I remember the sugar became absent from the cake. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, she wanted to do this and she wanted to do that, but like the sugar's out of the cake, and I'm like, once the sugar, the main ingredient, is out of the cake, all those things you trying to do to win me back and get me here and get me there, you done took that out, and it took time for the sugar to get out the cake. But once the sugar is out the cake, and I said, so many people are in that situation. Mm-hmm. You've been married, you've been with somebody for a long time, and
yes,
we started doing, especially me, we started doing crazy stuff, and now the sugar ain't in the cake, the main ingredients, the passion, the romance, and all those things, the affection, it ain't in the cake no more. And at that point, nobody wants to do this, want to do that. Nobody want to have sex with you. Nobody want to do this, because the sugar ingredients out the gate. So, so many people, especially women, I always thinking about women and stuff, because that's like the book, Le Romance. We need to get back to how we do our Black women and how we treat our Black women, how we lift them up as our queens. Mm-hmm. And so that's how the book came about, just thinking about, where we at. Because right now, to me, I feel so sorry for the young Black woman and what she's up against. I just said, I work in a barbershop.
Yes.
I hear
you hear
all. Hey, in the barbershop, I'll be like, Lord, what the hell?
Yeah, listen, Milton, you know what I loved about this book? It was honest. It was honest and it was raw. But it was also, as you said, it reminded us so much of all the things we so quickly forget. And that's not just on the male side, it's on the women's side too. And you address that. I love the fact though that you took food as an analogy.
I love that. The
whole idea of
phenomenal.
Yes, the food, the analogy of a cake and the sugar, when the sugar is out of the cake. And you're right. And so I'm going to jump in by saying, I want you to talk about that you went into the store, and this is a part of the book, and you bought this cake and you did not
it was a diabetic
read
cake.
the label and how you tied that into relationship.
Exactly.
Because to me, that was like, there was like message.
Exactly. Yeah. Wait, what do you say? Danger, Will Robinson.
Yes.
This particular passage in that book is like you say, it go both ways, because we always missing things and signs and stuff like that. Right. And so this one right here can really go both ways. And I hadn't decided that, I went to this pastry shop, and everybody told me about this stuff in there, and I couldn't wait to get in there. And so I go in there and I see this and I see that. But what I saw was this big, nice chocolate cake. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to have that cake. That thing looks so good. And all I'm looking at is the cake. It was decorated. It was everything. I did not see anything else around me. I didn't see anything else in it. All I saw was this big, pretty chocolate cake. And I said, I got to have that cake. And so I just go immediately straight to the cake, pick the cake up, take it to the counter, pay for it, take it home. Can't wait to get home and eat this cake. Yes. Yeah. And I get home and I cut this thing, and it ain't got no sugar in it. I'm like, what in the world? I said, they don't show me a cake like this. Irish, y'all tell, I'm ready to call and cuss these people out. They don't sold me a sugarless cake. So I called the lady.
In a pastry shop, nonetheless. In a pastry shop, nonetheless.
I'm like, okay, y'all done sold me a cake. I'm ready. I want to raise hell, but she called me right now. She said, I said, y'all done sold me a cake and it ain't got no sugar in it. She said, excuse me, sir, calm down. Calm down. She said, you bought that cake out of our dietary section. It was a clear sign up there that said dietary section. I saw the sign. And I felt so bad that I missed the sign. And with that, sometimes women and men, but mostly women, you just looking at the size of it. He tall, got good hair, good teeth. You're looking at all that stuff and you missing the signs. If you listen close enough and read them close enough, you can read that the signs are there. And then later on down the road, you done got with this sweetless person that you got with. But y'all just, sometimes we get to looking at men, we do the same thing because I'll say this raw. We just looking at that backside of hers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that backside of hers. Right. We're missing all this toxic stuff coming out of her mouth.
Right.
Yeah, we just got caught up in our breasts and our ass and all that kind of stuff. And we missing it. Right. And next thing you know, down the road, you're talking about, how did I get him? Who is this person? Well, you missed the sign. Yes. Because God, in fact about it, God gives us signs who we're dealing with.
Come on, Milton.
God gives us signs all the time. He makes slip up in our lives. Okay, are you listening? Are you paying attention? No. You look, everybody telling you how good he look. Everybody telling you how good she look. Oh man, where you get her from, man? Where you get him from? Right. Yeah, but you don't miss the signs.
Why are you listening? Some people tell you they crazy, leave them alone, and you still keep going. They say, run, 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 Forrest, run. And you running back to them instead of
Right.
away from them. Because people
Right.
do tell you. And next
Yeah,
thing you just don't have them.
yeah, we miss the signs that God give us all the time, especially in relationship. He gives us a sign who we dealing with.
Right.
And then the sad part about it, sometimes now you done been in this thing 10 years down the road, and you just not figuring out that this is a cake that ain't got no sugar in it.
Yeah.
But you just deal with it. You deal with it because you don't want everybody to think, and they're gonna tell you this. I told you that cake didn't have no sugar in it in the first place.
Well, I think it's interesting, Milton, that you use that analogy because, as you said, for me, in reading that part, you were spot on with how we see something as it's just like when you were a kid, right? You would fill your plate up, like if you had the ability to fix your own food, right? Remember that? Like your parents used to fix your food, but then when you were old enough, you started making your own plate, and then you put all this stuff on your plate, and then you go, I had enough. I can't eat anymore. Okay. So from my mother's perspective, that was not going to go down that way. Right. I clearly remember when the first time I ever went to McDonald's and I said, I wanted the Big Mac. And my mom said, you cannot eat that Big Mac. I was like, yes, I can eat this Big Mac. And that's what I want from McDonald's. This is my first trip to McDonald's, first time having it. I want this Big Mac. Get the Big Mac. We're in the car. I remember clearly, I'm crunching. I think I took 2 bites of that Big Mac and I was like, I'm full, I can't eat it. and my mother was like, oh no.
I know that's right.
You asked for it.
That's right.
You're going to eat it.
You're going to eat it.
Now, you don't understand that clearly as a child, but it is the very thing that we do as adults in relationship. We see, like you said, you see this fabulous chocolate cake, or you see the donut, or you see the lobster, or you see the shoes, whatever it is, we live through our eyes first, right?
Yes,
right.
Because the eyesight, right, is it's the pathway to our souls, right?
Yes, windows to your soul.
So when we see something, it triggers the thing in our brain that says, oh, I got that. As I said, when I go shopping, it has to call my name. It has to say, take me home with you. Yeah. We do that with people. We gather people up and put them in our shopping bags, and then we take them home.
Yeah.
We don't.
What's amazing about that is that, like I would say, the eyes are the windows to the soul. The eyes are also the windows to their soul. Like when you really think about it, you can see crazy in people's eyes. You know,
exactly.
It's so true.
But we're so focused, like Milton said, about you only saw that cake.
Exactly.
So you didn't read the ingredients. You didn't see on the cake that it says it was sugarless. You didn't see the sign above it that it was in the dietary or the diabetic section or whatever.
None of that.
Well, you're looking at the big picture and not the small one.
Yes.
None of that.
And so we do that. And as women, you're right, Milton, we do it a lot. And then sometimes I think it is we find ourselves in situations, and then even though we realize that this is not the cake for us, this is not the meal for us, this is not the person for us, we go into but I have already invested time.
Yeah.
I've invested time, right?
How Milton would say, you pay for all those ingredients, they're so expensive now.
Hey, I got a friend, Larry. He's a customer at the barbershop. He's kind of special. He got a girlfriend. He took her out to dinner, and she done put all this food on the plate and stuff like that.
That story in the book, yeah.
Food, and what he called, I said, Larry, he said, yeah, she had the big eye. So, yeah, talking about the big eye. When you had the big eye, somebody say you had the big eye, your eyes are bigger than what you what you can handle.
Right. And then you don't know how to, you've gotten yourself in, so now you've ordered all this stuff, right? And then especially if it's at someone else's expenses, we do that too, right? It's someone else's expense that we're getting together. So where you would have typically said, maybe if it was something you really didn't like, you might have, or you weren't familiar with, you might have gotten a slice of it. To try it, to first find out if it was even something that you liked. But because your need or the void of a need that you had, you grabbed the whole cake and said, I'm gonna take this thing home. And then in your mind, you're saying, I can't wait to get this cake home, right? So you've already invested in it. You're vested in this cake, and you get this cake home and find out that this cake is missing. Also, Milton, you talked about a cake that you made, and the cake was bad, but you kept trying to eat it.
Yeah. Because I was invested. I just,
now, why did you keep eating this cake that you knew was not good?
Simply because I invested. It wasn't good. I was invested, but I'm eating. I know life is trial and error. And I always say this when it comes to cooking anything. If it turned out halfway decent, it don't kill me, then I'll just keep on eating it and stuff like that until it just totally make me sick. And I should have trashed it in the first place, but we invested now, and so we just trying to eat it, and because you don't want it to go to waste. In other words, just what I'm saying right there is that I hate to think, especially women, you hate to think that you wasted your time. Yeah, you hate to think you wasted your time. You mean tell me I done did this, I done prepared myself, I done got myself together, and he talking about coming over there the first time and date. You done invested, you done got your best outfit, you done got your nails did, you done got your hair did and stuff like that. And now you just trying to make the best out of this thing. Yeah. And so you just keep eating. And some people just eat too long. Next thing you got a stomach ache, you done got sick.
So Milton, do men have that same thought process? Like, do men ever look at any relationship in this sense of, I've invested time? Because now that we're talking about that, of course, men and women, we are different. We process things completely differently, right?
Yeah.
Right. And Steph and I have talked about this. We've laughed about it because sometimes as women, when we meet a person, when we think that this is our person, we laughed one day. We remember when you were younger and you'd start writing your name with their name at the end, and in the notebook with the X sign, the X and O signs, and I'm in love, and da 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 da. Do guys do that? Do guys go through life with that? Like, I see her and I'm gonna add my name to her name, or I've spent this much time with her and I can't
use her name and put my last name behind her name. Do they do that? Like, now she's gonna be, she gonna have my last name.
Not really. We don't think that deep and get too deep in it.
I don't understand
I remember when I was young, this girl done got me some t-shirts with the arrow pointed at it. I'm hers, he's mine, all that kind of stuff. And we look at them like, no, we ain't gonna do that. Just like the same thing about, women, when y'all are young, y'all don't plan out your whole marriage and everything. Y'all see the business, this kind of stuff. And for the most part, we're not thinking like that.
Right.
Like in the book, we are just physical beings, and to get the emotion and think that deep and stuff like that, we just not that deep into it like that. So most of the time we don't. The most we gonna do is give you a thing. We was young. Most we gonna do is give you a piece of paper, say, do you like me? Check yes or no. If you say no, you can move on to the next category.
It's so funny. I had this conversation with some people yesterday about, as you said, Milton, early on, about how you feel for young Black women today.
Yeah.
But it's not just young Black women. I think it's Black women. If you are single in this time, in this period of life right now, this has been a progression to this point. Like, back in the 80s and the 90s, it was, there were more Black men incarcerated than there were men out here, you know, men on this available men. Then we went through AIDS, and we had more men who were more becoming in same-sex relationships as they were versus them being in heterosexual relationships. Then we had the education thing, the education gap, right? Young Black women were going to college, and unfortunately, young Black men were either being killed or going to jail, or just were not interested, and they weren't even finishing high school, but yet they were in fact fathering or impregnating women. You know, so that's on both sides though fault, right? Because if you're joining someone, you have to take you're culpable for whatever happens between the two of you, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me. I was having this conversation where someone said, a male said, you know, it's like, my reverend told me years ago that a woman has to get a man to the point of him wanting to be married, to be prepared to marry. And I thought to myself, I've never heard that before, right? But as he started to explain it, it made sense to me, you know. But then again, it puts it back. It's like it puts the onus on the woman, because like you said, Milton, men, you guys don't think like that. You said it clearly. You said we start planning, and we plan out our whole lives. Probably by the time we're 5 and 6, we may not know the exact person. And sometimes we do. We've picked him out. We've identified who he is. He may be not even in our world, but we've picked him out. We've identified the type of man. Either he needs to be like my father, or definitely not like my father, or he needs to be Michael Jackson, or he needs to be my teacher who taught me everything. But we identify the type, the person, the characteristics, how he needs to look, the skin, the color of his skin, what type of eyes he needs to have, what color his hair needs to be. And then we hold on to those standards pretty much our whole lives, right? Even after we have found that person, sometimes we find that person who fits all those characteristics, yet the warm and fuzzy that we thought we would get from that person, or the love and attention that we would have gotten from that person, we did not get. Absolutely, you know, it ends up turning out that sometimes it's the exact opposite of what we were looking for or what we were expecting. And so it's interesting in the dynamics that then how do we as men and women find that sweet spot, as you're saying? How do we find that sugar and keep it in the cake? Because we are so vastly different, and yet we want, I think, the same thing.
Yeah, to a great degree, we want the same thing. I'm marrying a couple this weekend coming up Saturday, and I counseled them the other day, and I told them this. I said, y'all getting married in a rough time, in a rough area, and one of the main things, the main problem in relationships this day and time is social media. That social media is killing relationships. You know, and everybody got these different ideas. Most women, you know, y'all can see y'all focus better than us. Y'all can see your direction. You can see what you want, even when it comes to business, school, education. Y'all see things more clear in what y'all want, and y'all strive for it. Men, you know, we ain't got no covering on our eyes, and we see this, that's distracting us, that distracting us, this distracting us. And by the time all these things get through distracting us, now we're not on the same page with our mate, because we're easily as men to get distracted. Yep, women, bam, y'all gonna do exactly pretty much, you know, what you want, what you said, the things, the criteria you want from God. You know, every now and then it takes so long, so then y'all will bear off. But men, we are gullible, and we see that piece of candy, we see this piece of chocolate, we see that cake over there, and we lose focus on this relationship and where we're supposed to be and where we're trying to head. And that's why sometimes to me it's so hard for people to just stay on the same page.
But I know you were saying, like, in your book, that the thing is when, like, you were talking about, and by the way, you got to give me the name of the pastry shop in New York that you said had the best pastries, because I'm a New Yorker. So,
Yes, she's a
I
New
go to,
Yorker.
so yeah,
She's
so
a
I
native New
gotta go
Yorker
check
like
out
me.
but you were saying, like, how she wouldn't give you the discount on the brownie.
Oh man.
And it was the same concept, it was like the same concept as us women, that we have to hold our standards, because that's to help keeping the man focused, even if the focus is not you no longer, because, like, your standards, he can't stand up to your standards, and he needs to go. But the one who wants to stand up to your standards, as long as you keep your standards, he will stay there with you. You can focus and build together.
Yeah, a lot of times men just don't like to be invested. One passage I was talking about in there about men to go to a drive-through restaurant, and they'll just get the hamburger because the combo costs too much. I'm not trying to buy all that. I'm not trying to invest in all that. Just give me the sandwich.
Yeah.
And we don't like to invest. And so when I went that particular thing you talking about, when I went in that store, the first thing we gonna do as men, we gonna try to Jew you down. We gonna try to get this. We trying to get a little bit of something for nothing, and that's the same. Trying to get y'all. We trying to get a little something for nothing. Not understanding, this person got to work. The lady say, no, our stuff is well worth it. It's worth every dime. When you get it home and you taste and you see, we make that stuff fresh every day. And our stuff is worth it. So no, we don't get no discount. You can either take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of women need to do. I know sometimes in some things I said, it's been a long time since you had a cake. So it's been a long time since you had a cake. So now you just kind of bending your thing, your rules and regulations, because you just, at this point, now you want some cake in your life.
Right.
But y'all got, see, the ball is in y'all, totally in y'all court, and y'all got to hold y'all value and say, look, you can either take this or leave. I'm not bending my morals. I'm not bending my values. I'm not bending, either take this like this or don't take it at all. And you got to know who you are. Because like I said in that particular passage, we are physical beings. Mm-hmm. I don't care who it is. It could be your wife, your girlfriend, you've been married to her. When I initially saw you, I saw the physicality of you. And I saw what you might have got married and went on down the road and everything, but look at her, I want to hit that.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
But because she held out and she made me see more of her than just that. She made me wait. She made me see that, about her brain, about her mind. Say, okay, you know what? This woman here, she's worth more than just a hit. But initially, that's what I saw. Mm-hmm. When I first saw my wife, I was like, yeah, that's what I want. But she
I gotta jump to get to that thing.
Yes, I got, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta take and say whatever I gotta say. But on and off, and like even Steve Harvey talking about this 90-day rule, which is pretty much hard for everybody nowadays because we live in such a sexually explicit world. It's everything on TV, all the rappers, all the songs, everything. You might be trying to lay there and think, but everything around you put on any kind of TV show, any kind of movie, even cartoon have some sexual scenes, and you want me to wait 90 days and all I see around me is sex. But the ball is in y'all court when it comes to that, to make us understand that there's more to you than just sex. Because if you don't show me there's more to you than just sex, then I'm going straight for what I see.
But Milton,
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Steph.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have this. So for me, so do you believe? And everybody tells me, I believe a man will wait for a woman, until marriage. I was with my husband for 24 years, and I'm just not interested in having sex outside of marriage. Right. I mean, I know it's not a common thing today, but I'm not willing, to, lower my standards or anything like that. I just, it doesn't work for me. I don't feel comfortable in that situation. And, I'd rather, be involved, be married, when I decide to share my body with someone. Now, how hard is that in this time and day to have a relationship like that? What do you think?
Let me say that I'm gonna answer this, and then I want to ask you a question from a male standpoint of view. if a man really, really, really loves you and care for you and he's fond of you and he really want to be with you, he'll hold off, he'll wait, and he'll do just that. It's so difficult now because like everything got sex in it subliminally, and everything got sex in it, and so, but it's possible. And a lot of men will if it just all depends how I feel about you and how did I initially meet you. You know, have I known you for a time and I just grew to love you and care for you, and I just say, okay, if that's what you want to do, then I will do that. You know, it's very rare that can happen. Okay, but here's the question that I want to pose to both women. Okay, you say you wait because you want to wait to get married, and you date and you find a man that date, you know, that do that and stuff like that. But then what do you feel, or what do y'all think, or how do y'all react when you wait all this time and the sex is not that good?
I'm jumping in right here.
There you go.
Go ahead.
So this is what I love about Steph and I's dynamic, because we see things vastly differently, but the same on many levels. So my standpoint on, I understand, yes, I've experienced, I think, all of these things. I've been married before. Steph's been married before. We've been divorced. So it is, for me, the thing is to say, even if a man says he's going to wait for you, and or if you do the 90-day rule, right? Or you wait until you're married. How do I know? And I have experience, a man is saying, I'm waiting on you, but in cases, this man, he's waiting on you, right, to surrender to yourself to him. But in the meantime, he's not really waiting, because he's having sex with someone else. He's satisfying his needs somewhere else. And you're believing that he is truly 100% waiting on you. That's a risk you take, because you don't, I mean, and that's a person's character, and there's nothing that you could do about that because you don't know, right?
Yeah.
I also am of the mindset, at this age in my life, I get it about, you know, waiting and not surrendering and making someone see your value.
Right.
But I also, where you're coming from, what if the sex is bad? Because to me, sex, intimacy is very important in a relationship.
Right.
And so if I'm going to sit and wait for you, or you're going to sit and wait for me for a year or however long we say this, my standpoint is, I wouldn't buy a car I have not test drive. I'm not going to buy a house sight unseen. I'm certainly not going to put something so dear and so valuable, which is my sexuality and my sexual happiness, as well as yours, to that type of test. And then we get married and find out maybe we're not even compatible.
Right.
Maybe I don't work. Maybe you don't work. Now what?
Well, see,
So now
like,
you're in a marriage that's going to end up being sexless or really, really unsatisfied.
Right.
But that's the point is, like, when you have ridden that bicycle already, and, you know, we all have, you know, been married in relationships and things of that nature. I always pose this question: the sex, you're compatible in those relationships sexually, but then all the other things didn't work that got you to a position that now you're no longer with that person. So I would say then, how important was the sex? Because if it was so good sexually, now you're not together, then what was the issue? Because sex is the easy part. It's all the other things that are the hard part.
No, so my point is, I'm not saying you should jump into sex. I'm saying
I'm saying that what I'm saying is that it's like whether like what my standards, okay. But what I'm trying to say is that when if like sex is important to a relationship, it absolutely is. But then there are some things, sometimes in a relationship, you can no longer have sex for whatever reason. you know, whatever.
And I get that.
So
And
what is
so
that?
like if someone
I
becomes
think,
sick, yes,
but
or
what
someone
I do
becomes
think,
sick.
well, exactly, but I do feel that it is the times that we're definitely living in, but so much emphasis is on sex. If you don't have sex, you're not going to die. You know what I mean? If you don't have sex, you know, you could take that energy and challenge it somewhere else. And I think the emphasis is there, but that's not that's really the problem with with the relationships, because oh, we have to be sexually compatible. So and I do feel that if you are on the same page and you do the work, you still got to do the work in the relationship, whether you're having sex or not, then you will find a balance. I think that just like when you meet somebody that you don't wait for, maybe 90 days, however long, whatever, you know, you feel this person's hot and you want to have sex, you know, 9 times out of 10 that it's going to be good. By the time you kiss that person and everything else, and, you know, very rarely is it bad. So, but it's really because really it's in your mind when you really think about it. It's just like when, like the thing is when the sugar's out of the cake. When that sugar was in the cake and the sex was so good, whatever, that sugar's out of the cake. That sex is horrible with that person because you no longer love that person or feel for that person. So it's really more in your mind than anything. So if you make love to somebody's mind and they make love to your mind, and by the time you come together intimately, that's a whole nother level of sex. Because
it is. Well, that's the intimacy. So I'm saying intimacy first, and intimacy is not sex.
Exactly.
Right. It's the building of intimacy. It's the building
Right.
of trust. It's the building of a foundation.
But nobody's building the intimacy. Nobody's building the foundation. Everybody's hopping into the bed, and then now you have these spiritual ties. Now you have soul ties with this person, because every time a man is inside you, he leaves something inside you. You give something to him, and now you have those type of attachments. That's really why women don't want to leave these relationships. Now I'm giving my body to this person. Now I gotta live this relationship, start over another relationship, give my body to somebody else. But if you took your time to really get to know this person, whether you wanted to wait for marriage or not, you know, before if you were on the thing with the 90-day rule, before the 90 days, that man would have told you who he was, and you didn't give your body to him, so you didn't lose anything. So now you're like, I could walk. You know, I don't feel that I need to stay here because I'm done giving my body. You know, so
I agree with you on that, but my point still is, you could do 90 days, you could do 180 days, you could do 365 days. Always though, remember, a person will show you just and only what they want you to know.
Well, that's an issue.
And so even if you could, there are people who have never, you know, there are still people who are virgins out here in the world. They do exist.
My nephew just got married. My nephew just got married. Right? He was 29. He was a virgin. Him and his wife were virgins. They just got married, in May. Okay. And, you know, he just turned 30.
So we know it exists. But what I'm saying
his father was a virgin when she married my sister. And he, you know, so it does happen. It is out there.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it does become, because once I heard what you said earlier. It's like once you learn how to ride a bike, right? You never forget. Exactly. And I do think, and let me clarify here, because I didn't say this. I do clearly understand let's go back to, I clearly understand why God's word says that people should wait. There's a reason for that. You know why? In my opinion, you have nothing to compare. Exactly. You have nothing to compare. You have nothing to say. You don't know what's good and what's bad. But you learn together prayerfully, right? As a couple, right? You learn together. You learn what makes this person happy, what I don't like. If we're open enough to be able to do that with one another, and that's our intimacy grows, and so then our sexual relationship grows. But when people get together nowadays and then say, I'm going to wait, or we're going to wait, right? And I say this because there was a guy that I met, and this guy said to me, he said, listen, I want to date for 1 year. And then after that, I want to be engaged, and then I want to be married. And he clearly said, what are your views on sex outside of marriage. And I stated what I just stated. And he said, he became very judgmental. He said, see, people talking about they're Christians and yet they're having sex outside of marriage and da 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 da. And I told him the same thing I just told you guys. And I told him, I said, obviously, I am not the person for you. And you're not the person for me. And I was cool with that. But I realized this person had been married before. His wife had cheated on him, had gotten pregnant with someone else's child while he was away in the military, thinking he was taking care of his family. So he had this whole anger, this whole mess. So he had his own set of baggage. And yet I was being judged based on his experiences. So what I'm saying is that people, we all come with our baggage and our things that we believe. And sometimes just because I believe it doesn't make it true, you know? And
but I think it's an individual thing. Right. You know, right. It's like, that's
so there's a catch-22 on all sides. But Milton, I posed to you, do you believe that the difference, one of the differences between men and women, a woman typically will say, if she says, I'm making you wait, she really is waiting. She's not having sex with anyone.
I agree.
On a man's side, tell me, what am I far-fetched on that?
Not at all. Most men are not waiting, unless you are a pure virgin and they never had it. But most men, they might say stuff, they like you and waiting to get to you. But most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, they're not waiting. Yeah, we're not built that way. They're doing something. Because see, the thing like Steph just said, a lot of times sex have a whole different meaning for y'all. Because people are pouring out certain things inside of y'all. But men, we can have sex and it don't be that. Just like, most of the time, people have affairs, these sneaky links that they call it. Most of the time, the woman's gonna catch feelings way faster than a man, because a man can just do that and be done with it.
Moving.
And keep it moving. But most women, they can't just do that. I've had experiences when I was young, much younger than I was now. I thought we had to understand, we just gonna do this and we just gonna do that. And it started off like, she like, I understand, we just gonna do it like this, spend the time. Next thing you know, I got all kind of problem issues going, because she done fell in love, she done did this, she done did that. But see, men, and men just built different when it comes to that. They can just have a sexual experience without the attachments and all that go with it, all the emotions, everything that go with it. And so, that's why it's a sad thing to say that this happens. A husband go out and cheat.
Yes.
And he think
exactly.
He think it won't to understand, because he talking about, well, boo, it didn't mean nothing to me. It was just this, it was just that.
Right.
There's something to do. But turn that around. What if your woman cheated on you and she said, oh, then I just got a little extra, that another thing.
He would not see it the same.
Well, not see it the same.
Right.
No, not at all.
I remember when I was younger, because that was always a thing. When you watch the TV show, or you're watching a movie, and a man would get caught. Typically it was a man. And that's not to say women cheat too, right, which is better at it. Yeah. We typically don't get caught like men do. Sorry to say.
I don't know about that. But
no, I'm just gonna say, because women tend to be planners. So we listen, we plan everything. We plan everything.
They
good, bad, or indifferent. We plan everything. We normally execute a little bit better. But
just like I told you, when my brother's girlfriend was going out, he did check her pocketbook. She had some condoms. And when he went to my mother, like, why she had condoms? She going out, and then because she was going out to somebody else, obviously. Right. And my mother, said to her, "Oh, you need to talk to her." My brother's telling my mom, and she said, "Oh, she told her, oh, you supposed to buy the condoms when you got where you were going." I'm like, "That's what you told her." Okay.
So, but just going back to, as I said, when people would find out someone was having an affair, what was the thing that the woman always said first?
Do you love him?
Bam. for a long time, I could not understand. I was like, what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Price of tea in China.
But what I realized was because men say it didn't mean anything. And then we're going, what the hell are you talking about? It didn't mean anything. You slept with another woman. But a man is easy to detach. Forgive me, Milton, but this is why men are referred to as dogs, because dogs will have sex for the need of satisfying them being in heat. A female dog will have sex because she's in need to satisfy. They sniff each other's behinds. I learn about who you are, what's your breed, what's your thing. We're going to do this thing. And then when we're done, goodbye. Thank you very much. We don't never have to see each other again, right? Humans are not created that way, but we behave that way on many levels and many occasions. So when a woman finds out that her husband, boyfriend, whatever, is sleeping with someone else, she says, do you love her? Because then she knows, okay, am I really gonna have to fight for you now? Even though at that point, does that make any sense? But that is how we process differently, right? We process differently because a lot of times. I'm not fighting
for you. You can have them. You want them. But Steph, I know, but I'm just not that person.
We will say you can have him, but generations of women before us and still women today don't operate that way. Because in our heads, we have been reared to overlook, close your eyes, turn your head, because is he taking care of the household? Is he feeding you? Does he pay the bills? Do you work? Oh, no, you don't work. So you need to go over there and sit down. If he leaves or you put him out, can you afford this house? Can you afford? And you and I talk about this all the time. Can you afford to live this lifestyle that he has afforded you?
But I mean, you're right about that. But we didn't have that. But we don't have women in our family. Like my mother was not that person. Neither was my aunts. They were like deuces.
They weren't, but they put up with. But Steph, they put up with a whole lot more stuff that you and I would not.
But they would never, like definitely. But they would never say, my mother always had her own business. Oh, whatever he could do, she made more money than my father. But it's just like saying so. But I'm just saying that they did stay longer than we did. But there's a lot of women, like especially women like where we grew up around, they were not those type of women. I mean, I know the type of women you are talking about, but they were not those type of women. Like I had a friend, I mean, you seem like she loved her husband, and like a lot of dynamics that went into their relationship. But we live in this small town in Bergen County. Town was so small. But he was in a bigamist. He had a family on the other side of town. Yeah. And when she found that out, the person who adored this man, everything for this man, she was like, I'm out. Her kids and everything.
Right. I'm saying it happens, but I'm saying, as Milton's book says, as women, we stay too long, too many times. We put up with stuff that we should not have allowed to go on. Like we couldn't control what he did, but we accept it because we say we forgive you. And we don't know how to say I forgive you, but I'm out or you're out.
Yeah. Steph, do you ever watch Divorce Court?
Yes.
That's one of my watch anymore. It's so negative.
I like Divorce Courts with the Cutlers.
Yeah, the Cutlers, and they be on there with that and Lynn Toller. And it's like, you done did all this investigation and you done got to his phone, you done tapped his phone, you done found all this, and you find like cheating and doing this like that. And next thing you know, you still staying in the jail, be like, so why in the world is you in my court? You still
why are you here?
Going nowhere. Exactly. Right. Like really. Yeah.
Right. You're doing all this investigating, you find out you cheating, but and like Iris saying, it's so many reasons why women say I knew an older woman one time, hers used to abuse her, cheated on her, all kind of stuff. And so I asked her, this is years later, I said, well, why you didn't leave a long time ago? She said, well, she couldn't afford to. She had kids and she would be a single mom and she just wasn't going to be up for leaving. And a lot of women hanging out for kids' sake and if the kid in a nice situation, nice house. And one thing I was talking about how many, I'm single, so I be lonely sometimes. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm lonely. But it's a terrible thing when you're in a relationship and married and lonely.
Oh, that's the worst. I agree with you. I read that in your book. I'm like, that
right.
is
We did. We both. I totally agree. we always talk about the greatest thing in life, Milton, is peace.
Mm-hmm.
When you turn the key to the place you call home, it's priceless. I could live in a shack, but if I'm by myself in that shack, I'm okay. But it's totally different when you live in a mansion and you got a hellified life in the mansion. Right. And you're lonely because the person who is providing the mansion, then that's normally the person, they're the breadwinner. They travel for work. They're always entertaining someone. Oh, babe, I got to do this. I got to do that. And that's not just the man. There are women who do the same thing.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
The house is where all my things are maintained. See, we don't understand sometimes you become an item. You're not even a person anymore. You become a thing. You become a collectible.
You become part of the house, part of the furniture.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically. But my mother told me, she said, let me tell you, you'd rather live in a shoebox than be unhappy in a relationship. She said, because peace is priceless. And it's so true. It is. And I learned that from a little girl. She said, I left my first husband. I left everything. Whatever I came with, whatever was there, I left it and just took me and my clothes. And because peace is priceless, and sometimes you have to go. And I always remember that,
Yeah, I rode to a neighborhood not too long back, $300,000 houses and stuff, and I was just looking at them saying, how many people staying in these nice houses but just miserable?
Many. Because for one, many times people don't want to deal with the shame, number one, of this did not work, especially if you were already told, like your family goes, he ain't. And then you fight for them. You go, you don't get to tell me. You don't know.
Now you're performing every time you see your family. Y'all got to show up all natural, looking good, everything like that. Yeah. And you living a lie.
Right.
Yeah. That's the thing I wrote in there about. That's the thing I wrote about the lady that made the lopsided cake.
Yes.
Everybody see the cake lopsided. Trying to fix it up and mess it up and everything. This is a lopsided cake. This ain't gonna a lopsided cake.
And first of all, I'm not. You don't have to worry about nobody.
All over our face.
But when you have a lopsided cake,
all over our face.
When you have a lopsided cake, you don't have to worry about your cake all being gone or nobody taking your cake, taking it by accident, taking it by mistake, because guess what? They go, I see it's a lopsided cake. Everybody else see it's a lopsided cake. You the only one who cannot see that something's not right about that cake. So guess what? We're gonna let you have it.
And the thing about it is she done invested in it, and she just trying to deal with it because she don't want to be proven wrong. Like you said a little while ago, sometimes they hang in there because this day and time people are so ashamed. You live in relationships and stuff, you're ashamed to say you had to leave and the marriage didn't work.
Yes.
You just living in because they're ashamed. And getting a divorce is an embarrassment.
People got to do that.
But you want to have all of those.
Yes. I think shame, judgment, embarrassment, lack of the ability to say, you know what, it didn't go right. And it's not even a thing of I was wrong, because matters of the heart is not the same of like, okay, I bought the wrong car, right? I bought this wrong car. Because even with a car, within a certain period of time, you could take that car back and say, this didn't work for me.
Right.
This car is not what I thought it was going to be. That's not the same.
When I ran up and got married.
Right.
I ran up and got married. I eloped, and I was, after 7 weeks, I met somebody, ran off, got married, eloped, and the whole relationship was 14 weeks, literally, because I filed for divorce.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I'd rather be at home with my mother and then live with you at El Crazy. I made a mistake. You know, my mother, everybody in my family was all against me. I'm sorry I made a mistake, but I'm about to divorce this fool because it was a mistake. Okay. It was no shame in my game. Took 10 years for me to do it again.
Yeah, but see, a lot of people don't think like that. They'll hang in there because they don't want nobody to say, I told you so.
Right.
But that thing in the back of my head, my mother always told me that, peace is priceless, so what? You just got to talk it up. And that's the thing like people don't want to do. You don't want to own your mess. You'd rather lay in your mess and pretend that it is not a mess than own it. Right. And if you own it, you could get out of it, see what, get in front of it. So you could end up having a happy life, because that's where all the sicknesses, the diseases, all these things show up from all those things.
I agree. I agree.
So
Milton, didn't work. Let's keep moving.
Well, yes, but I always, I tell Steph all the time. I said, I think a lot of times we stay in situations because between family, your own self standards, religion, and God, right? We stay in situations way too long because, again, we don't have the answers for why we did this thing, or the answers don't line up with all these things we measure ourselves up against, which is a struggle, so here's where I'm going to say to you, like, minister, you said, don't blame the minister didn't write this book.
Yeah.
But the minister did write the book because
that's a life, and just how I see it. Yeah, the minister, you're right, you're absolutely right. The minister did write the book, and it's based on things, and the ministry part helped me be spot on. And so most of the time when I think we talk about the ministry part is just due to some of the words that I use, just the human being. Because I kind of look at things from a humanistic standpoint of view, instead of trying to be stuff collar and stuff like this. I just try to tell people straight.
Right.
When I counsel a couple, I'm telling y'all straight, this, that, and other thing, what to look forward to, and what you up against and stuff like that, and not sugarcoat it, from a religious standpoint of view. But you're right, the minister did write it.
Right.
God the one that gave me the insight. God the one that gave me the insight to put it together like that. Starting off talking about, people thought it was a cookbook, talking about my grandmama, how she cooked, talking about my dad.
Yes, you did. I love all the reference because it gives foundation to who you are.
Yeah, Ali edited it, and he didn't even know what strychnine was. And I'm talking about my dad with the strychnine and stuff, but he didn't even know what strychnine was. And so when I first started, it sounded like a cookbook.
Right.
But then that thing, as it progressed, then you said, okay, here's what he's talking about. One of the best parts that I like about relationships and stuff like that is when the guy came home and made love on a dirty table.
Yeah, that would have never happened over at that no spot out there. Yeah, no. Especially, let's just start with just basic hygienes, bro. You came in and you didn't take those. That's an automatic no.
That's automatic
no.
You're doing too much, sir.
Right.
And she's not enjoying it. She's not enjoying it at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
She's going with it like that. And the thing about that particular is like, dude, you done got on the nerve, hung out late, did all kind of stuff, and you think, but me, and that's our ego. Oh, we just go put it down. She'll be all right. Nah, bro, you got to clean that table off first. You got to clean some things up first, man. Talk about the things and do some things.
But even though you say that, but even though you said that in the book, Milton, he succeeded in what he came to do. He stayed out late. He came home.
Yeah, because a lot of times
he presented himself, and she took it.
And a lot of times, what happens, therefore, especially with Christian women, especially, the Bible talks about not denying him and stuff like that, and she just doing her wifely duties. Don't mean she enjoying it, but she just kind of you know, the Bible talks about, you know, not denying her husband, sex and stuff like that. And she's, you know, she trying or whatever, but she's not in. There's a lot of things that we do as people, especially women. You know, it's you're not enjoying it, but you're trying to be submissive unto your husband and stuff like that. You're not enjoying it because he's not. If he wants to give you the care and attention and everything, it would be better. But you know, like even like cooking, you know, if he's straight and he's doing everything he's supposed to do, loving and caring and everything like that, you don't mind stirring up and stuff and cooking for him. But if he ain't, you will still cook. But you mad every time, every biscuit.
Ain't no loving that cooking. It becomes a chore.
I was gonna say real cooking requires love. That's what makes the food taste good. It's just like bacon. If you baking the cake and you don't bake or you don't cook with love, it's never gonna. You could have followed that recipe to the T. When people taste it, they're gonna still say it's all right. It's missing something. I can't tell you what, but it's missing something.
Because if he ain't doing right, you'll go in there and be like, you're not gonna put your all in it. You're not gonna put your best in it. You're just gonna put something together so he can eat. Because that's what you're doing. I'm gonna fix something to eat, but it ain't gonna be. I'm not fixing no neck bones, and I'm not fixing no oxtails. Look at you finna get this hamburger helper and this spaghetti, and we're gonna call it a day.
Yeah, most women today, if they are not that women. If I'm pissed off, I'm not cooking jack. You on your own. You are on your own, my brother. No, you don't have to worry about it. Because here's the thing, for me, I don't break bread with my enemy.
Yeah.
I don't break bread with my enemy. Hence, when we are in relationship, when we are married to someone and one of us are acting out of character and doing stuff, then why am I still expected to behave in this character that you believe I should be doing? Now, I get why. I'm not saying I don't understand, but I'm saying it normally doesn't happen. That's when you know you're in trouble. Because when one person starts to behave outside of the character or outside of the role in which we have developed together and how we play together, when you start taking your ball home early, we got a problem.
Yeah. And see, that goes back to like what I was trying to say.
You don't finish the game. You don't. There's so many things that come when you say you cook breakfast for your husband every morning, and then all of a sudden your husband goes, "I'm good. I'm gonna eat breakfast out." Bro, what? Bro, what happened? Wait, you doing what? Or I won't be home for dinner tonight all week. Bro, wait, what? So I'm saying the signs are there, but we tend to miss them
all the time.
What I'm trying to say, what I was saying, the whole thing about like going back, thinking back up to the whole thing, the sex thing, is like you cannot see the forest through the trees. I think you just miss so much more. Yeah. But also, what I'm trying to say is like when I was talking about riding the bicycle, when like you've been through some things, you've had some relationships, if you meet someone the same way and they're like, look, we rode that bicycle, we jumped into these relationships, right? Let's do something different. Right. Let's get to know each other on a whole nother level before we introduce that into our relationship. And I think that's more so what I'm talking about. I mean, unless you're young, like my nephew, he's young. They both were virgins. So neither one of them know about riding the bicycle. They know what they're going to learn from each other, what their desires are, as far as sex is concerned. So I'm talking about like that, you're like, like with, I'm in my 50s, meet somebody in their 50s also, the same way. That's the things that I'm talking about, unless you're starting up new, I would tell young people, you should save yourself until marriage. Because like you don't, you could build from there.
There's just so many messages out there now for people. People just.
It is. It's horrible.
An old saying is curiosity kill the cat.
The cat.
Yep.
And satisfaction.
Curiosity.
Just some extent, honey, it's like, it's happening.
It's still true.
Yeah, you're
Listen,
right.
And
there's nothing new
everybody
under the
somewhere.
sun. This been going on for
There isn't.
centuries before we were even thought about. And it will
Right.
continue to go on when we are no longer here.
But, there are like young groups of people that I personally know that
Yes,
are couples that are saving themselves.
yes,
Are they having indulged and they're like, they don't want to go down that road. And,
yeah,
these are young men that are, just trying, and in their 30s too, but they have decided to become abstinent.
yes,
And because they see where that's leading them,
right,
and they decide to like, I want to be abstinent. That's just like back to celebrity when Russell Wilson was the one who wanted to wait
right,
for after marriage before
right,
him and Sierra had a
right,
sexual relationship. She wasn't the one who wanted to wait, but he had, because they both
right.
had been married. Well, she wasn't married, but he had been married before. So
Yeah,
he wanted to like, let's get to know each other a little bit better.
yeah. And I told there are benefits to definitely to waiting. Definitely. I will say that there are. So,
Yeah. It's it's just a
Milton,
matter. It doesn't matter whether you make love to the mind.
it wasn't
Yeah,
what?
and you have to be on the same page
You can see. It's one thing about sexual waiting and all that kind of stuff, but you can make love to her mind all day long.
all
Yeah,
day long, all day
right,
long, and each other's mind all day
And
long.
right, and
right.
sometimes that's just rewarding if you know how to do it. That's just as rewarding
Yes, it
as
is.
as actual penetration.
I mean, I had quite a few non-sexual relationships. I dated a minister before I met my husband. I dated a couple of people that we had great relationships, but it wasn't a sexual relationship. But it was just it was a relationship. But
Right.
just didn't have sex involved. That worked.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a mental thing, most women, men don't understand this, because they just think physical. But most women, probably myself with my thought, they want that mental more than they want that physical. Because if the mental ain't there, the physical ain't gonna be worth nothing.
Right. Correct.
Exactly.
And like she said, like I said earlier, what if something happened? What if both of y'all get to, sex ain't never kept nobody together, but
Well,
mental
that's
kept, but
obvious.
mental kept, yeah, mental kept
Exactly.
a long time. The mental sex that they were having kept them together a long time. They just loved each other, couldn't wait to be around each other. So,
Right.
yeah, you see
Right.
people have great sex and break up all the time.
It's
Right.
true. It's true. I
Right.
have like three sets of friends that have been with their husbands since they were 12 and one since they were 13. And they still have great marriages. Now their kids are grown. Some of them becoming
Right.
grandparents, and they've been together since they were like kids, you know. And it's just like beautiful. Not that they say it was always, easy, but they made it through, through those relationships. They only, been with each other. So it can be, it's far few and in between, but it's a lot more than we think about. Just sometimes when
Oh,
I see
I
couples,
totally believe it can happen. My
yeah,
the
Yeah.
my I am I'm the saint's advocate. I'm gonna always just like I gotta challenge it. I can't just say yes, of course.
oh yeah. Well, me, I'm Mr. Romantic. I'm thinking like, that could be. So, and sometimes, my cousin, she's been with her husband since she's 21. She's 65 now. But it happens. And then
It
sometimes
does.
it doesn't happen. But that doesn't mean for me, like to say, like, one of my sisters, oh yeah, well, we were together for like 30 years, but how many of those years was good? Does that matter?
Well, that's
See,
the
that's
other
a whole
thing.
different thing.
Just because people have been married for a long time or been together a long time
Exactly.
does not
That,
mean that
that's what I'm
those were
talking
years
about.
of
But
bliss.
and
Because
it shows
life is
also your
not
place.
life is not years of bliss. There is going to be some
Exactly.
rain on every situation. So, it is a matter of
It's
how
how you
you
get through it
handle
though.
those things.
But you can see it. You can see it. It's written all over a person's face. Even if a person saying to you, "I'm happy." And I know you've seen it, Milton. I've seen these married couples, and a year or two later, they look like they done been through something.
Oh yeah, all
Because
the time,
they're in
all the
these
time.
unhappy situations. You can see when people, whatever they may be saying out their mouth, you can see it on their face, whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
All
you
the
can tell.
people, Milton, I'm sure you counsel people have you counseled anyone or couples that you said, I don't think you two are ready, or you two should never be together?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, okay.
I go ahead and do it all the time.
Do they take heed?
Most of the time not. They do what they're doing. I married a couple one time, they stayed together 4 hours.
How many?
4 hours?
4 hours.
That was
4
less than
hours.
me.
So that wasn't, so they didn't even get to the honeymoon phase. They just, wedding was over.
When a girl called me and told me what happened, I told her, just don't turn the paper in. Because you had to wait the money. It was on a Saturday, you had to wait the money to turn the paper. I told her, do not turn them papers in. Just
Right.
Oh my God. So basically their marriage was annulled before it was ever put together.
I married people. I married people. I'd be like, but we're adults. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. I try to tell you things and stuff like that, but you're an adult.
Right.
Yeah, some people I'd be like, you already living a life of sin. Y'all are shagging, y'all doing stuff. If we're gonna make this thing right before God and man, let's just make it right. I'm not gonna try to discourage y'all. I'm telling you what the obstacles you gotta look for. Because a lot of people think because they shagging, that means they're gonna do good, but that don't necessarily mean that. Because I tell them all the time,
right?
When you're shagging, you live in sin. Satan has no reason to bother you. But when you get married, now you done made it right. Now he got a reason to come at both of you. And so shagging doesn't mean anything. But I'm just trying to make them right, live right, and stuff like that. But most grown-ups gonna do what they're gonna do.
But most people want that wedding day.
My dad made me marry my cousin. He refused to do it. My dad had me marry my cousin, and my dad knew the only reason my cousin was marrying this woman because his mama was putting him out of the house, and he was trying to find somewhere to go.
That happens too. That's fine.
I told people, hey, Iris, I said when I started doing wedding vows now, instead of saying to death do you part, do you take this woman to be your wedded wife, to have the whole share and all that stuff? To death do you part? I say I'm just start saying for as long as you can, because it doesn't got to a point. It done got to a point just as long as you can, and that way when it gets to that, Milton. That day you say, well, Rev said for as long as you can, and today is that day. This is the farthest I can go with you.
Oh my God.
I mean, because people are married for these craziest reasons, tax write-offs and all this kind of stuff. Or for the wedding day, they want the gown that's expensive behind wedding.
For some people, that's marriage to them.
And that's just one day, okay? Yes. One day. I had the cheapest wedding ever, okay? And when I get married next time, it's gonna even be cheap. I'm on the beach somewhere, my son's gonna give me away, my daughter's gonna be my flower girl, I'll be there, and that'd be about it. Okay.
The worst thing, people get married because of good sex.
I was at the first wedding.
He don't rock your world. Next thing you go, what you gonna do when that? What you gonna do when that die down? And I don't never like to say that sex get old, but I say it gets common. As you've been doing, it gets common. So then you
stop making love to each other's mind. You stop doing what it is like. Like my son, he's still young. He's in college, but he has a little girlfriend. And he goes to school in California. She lives here, so he was just home for the holidays. So she come over and he'll make her breakfast. And I just said to him, I said, don't start nothing you can't continue. And that is the thing. I said, if you making her breakfast, do all these little nice things for her, if you guys really go, the whole gamut, then remember the things that you were doing for her. And I think that's what happens. Because we're human, we get comfortable. We have to remind ourselves. I know my mentor said that he would on his, the phones have a calendar. And he said just because he would get busy, but on his calendar, he had on his calendar, like run my wife's bath water today. All the new things he wanted to do for her to remind himself, so to keep all that fresh, because it's really true. A happy wife is a happy life. That is those two words have never been spoken.
And another thing I feel sad for now, because now these guys they looking for a mama figure that they can have sex with and take the mama place. They done spoiled them. They got them where they don't have work. They want to stay at home. They want to play video games. They want to do this. And it's a sad world out there that women have to deal with that kind of stuff, because that's how men mentality is. See, when I came up, my dad taught me how to take care of a woman, how I need to work, how I need to take care of myself. He would tell me this, don't you move with no woman. A woman put you out at the most inconvenient time. She'll put you out in the middle of the cold. So I learned from that. I got to always be able to take care. I got to always be able to take care of myself, and that's what I did. But nowadays, the roles have reversed. Now men looking for women that got stuff, and
absolutely.
They are.
It's just bad how things switch.
But what's up with these women wanting to date these young guys? I mean, it's like, I don't even like the terminology they use for it. What do they use?
Cougar.
Oh my God. It's just horrible. But my thing is, when you like, a man is a physical being. You're 15, 20 years older than him. Are you crazy? He's looking at your pension. He's looking at everything else that you got. And he's not really looking at you like that. And these women are fooling themselves thinking that, oh, I can have this man. Oh, no. I think that's a whole nother problem, really. You know, they dating these men that could be your children.
Yeah, it is.
That's horrible. And they really think they're pulling them. Okay, you look good. You look good for 50. But this boy, he's 25. You don't look like a 25-year-old girl.
Sometimes most of the time I think that's a sexual thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it is.
Because
people falling in love. Like they're falling in love.
When we get a certain age, you know, we ain't put it down like we used to, but you know, she find one of them young boys, but you know, the only problem with that is
her head up against the headboard.
She get hurt. She's hurt when
exactly.
She finds she ain't the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. She fall in love, and now you like you said, she's not the only one. You know, you like that he doesn't see you like, but they really feel like, oh, I could pull him. Yeah, you may be able to pull him, but can you keep him? And what's he gonna stay there for? You know,
right.
That's exactly. Like very far few of those relationships really work out. That's a lot of years that some of these women are running around here with.
But guys, it all still stems back to, that goes back to the character of both parties.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
No,
because at 56, you know, I had Steph laughing. There was this young man. He was 30, Milton, and this young man, I was looking for something in downtown Griffin. The young man says, excuse me, can I help you? He was a barber. And I said, and so I'm thinking he was coming to speak to me about, you know, my hair, because that, you know, barbers always, you know, Sean keeps my hair looking really great. And so I get compliments all the time. The young man said, hey, excuse me. And I said, yes. And he says, oh, can I help you with, you know, you looking for something? And I said, yes, because I had already walked up the block and down the other side. And so I said, yes, I'm looking for it. He goes, oh, what you're looking for is down at the end of the block around to the left. He says, hey, I'll walk you down there. This young man is talking to me. And then he says something to me. He's like, do you have an Instagram? Or you have, no, he says, are you on the gram? He doesn't say Instagram. Are you on the gram? I said, yes, I have 2 Instagram accounts. So he tells me what his Instagram account is. Okay, great. Wonderful. So then the young man says, do you sip? I'm sorry, what? Do you sip? I was like, what? He goes, do you drink wine? Yes, I drink wine. He says, so what are you doing later? And so I'm oblivious, Milton. I said, I'm going to celebrate one of my friend's 65th birthday. And so he goes, 65th? I said, wait, well, hold up now. Don't say it like that.
I know, that's right.
And so he says, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm still just talking to this young man, right? So then he says, and I said, he goes, oh, I would really like to take you out. We could go to the park and walk and talk and drink wine. I said, hold on, baby. How old are you?
Oh, wait a minute.
How old are you? He says, oh, that doesn't matter. I said, oh, no, please understand it matters. My oldest child is 32 and has a child. My middle child is 27. And my youngest, I just dropped off at college, who's 18. So then he says, I'm 30. I'm grown. He said, I'm 30 and we're all grown. I said, no, baby. You are not grown. I'm grown. I'm grown. You are not grown. Not in my world. What I look like with you 2 years younger than my oldest child and 3 years older than my middle child. And Lord, forget it, you could be my youngest child's parent. Are you crazy?
Ain't nowhere in the world.
But but no judgment against if two people find themselves together and decide that we work, then
I know a whole bunch of them.
More power to you.
But my saying goes, if I could push you out, I don't date you. If I could have been your mama, ain't nowhere in the world.
Okay, you're
not my mama. I said,
but it's been going on for years. It's a double standard because young women are attracted to old men, and it's not always that it's a sugar daddy thing. There are a lot of young women who are interested in older men, right? And so then when it's reversed, then we have a problem with it. But again, it's the two people involved. If two people come together, regardless of how old they are and whatever the case may be, you can't say people are, something's wrong with it.
My mother told me, she said, don't date old men, they give you crabs. And
my grandma said they give you worms, but hey,
so what does a young man give you?
Diseases.
I guess so. I'm talking about when I was young, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody so out of your age, like, oh no, this guy, you're 20 and this 40-year-old pushing up on you. I don't think so. Like, oh no. That's not gonna happen.
Milton, I am gonna ask you. I will say we have thoroughly enjoyed having you on.
So did I.
And your book is amazing and it's awesome. And I definitely will recommend for people to read it. So again, guys, hey, don't forget, go pick it up. You can order it on Amazon. Milton, why don't you share how they can get your book and how they can get in touch with you as well if they wanted to talk with you. Again, the book is When the Sugar is Out of the Cake. So Milton, you want to share how they can get your book or reach out to you if they're interested?
Yeah, you can always get my book on Amazon books, and then we on Amazon books. You got all 8 of them. You got two Little Romances, 3 Debbie Dynamites, 1 Enlightenment Quotation for the Heart and Soul, and one of my bestsellers is my autobiography entitled I Could Not Die. And you can find out then. Sometimes, I have it at the barbershop and stuff like that.
Yes.
You can always reach me at my email at isiSmilt@yahoo.com. And if you say something, I will respond back. I will give you the phone number, but see, somebody might be some Looney Tunes out there. And I have everybody calling me. But I have a Facebook page with Milton Broughton and stuff like that. So if you reach out to me on that and plug me on your Facebook thing, then I'll talk to you that way. If you got anything you want to ask me, my life is like an open book. I will tell it straight, my thoughts, my ideas. I got a book I want to write. My next book I'm doing a book of poetry right now. But my next book I want to do a book called Chained. So many women, they got these older sons, older cats in the house, and they chained to it, because the man and the woman broke up a long time ago, and she felt like you got to show enough love for both of them, the one that's there and the missing one. And next thing you know, she chained to that situation, not understanding that God gonna bless her with somebody else in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Did I go off?
Yeah. I don't know, Milton.
Yeah, picture came up.
You just went away. I can hear you, but I can't see you while you're doing. Okay.
Okay, there I go.
All right. Yeah. So, Steph, you want to tell the audience how they can get in touch with you and what your hats are?
We wear many, but we'll just keep it, I'm a life coach also, and my specialty is divorce and style. And you can reach me on mymentor.life. And of course, on the podcast, Autopsy of Her. And we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube also.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Steph. And again, you can reach me as well via idoLoveCoaching@gmail, or you can reach me at the Autopsy of Her. You can reach Steph and I both at the Autopsy of Her at gmail.com as well. You can tune into our YouTube channel on the Autopsy of Her as well. And then of course on Spotify. And so we, and I did not tell you, I'm also a life coach. I'm a mental health coach, or I'm a mental health counselor. I'm a life coach. I'm a realtor. Again, that's one of my trades. Mm-hmm. Steph is also a realtor. So if if you're looking for a home of peace, If your home no longer has peace and you need to find a new one, please don't forget that we can help you with
I'm
that.
in New Jersey. Iris is in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but we want to definitely just say we thank you, Milton, so much for joining us today. Of course, you have been a part of our men's series. We like to speak to both of the male and the female because we are females. That's what we know best.
Exactly.
That's where we come from. But we love to bring and have the male perspective because we don't ever want to come across as being one-sided. And of course, we are not males, and so we cannot speak to the male species. But we appreciate you sharing with us today and joining us today.
I appreciate y'all.
Your editor, Milton.
And maybe we'll all get together again soon.
Yeah, we would love to.
We need your editor's information, Milton. We need your editor's information.
Oh, Ali's.
He's right here. My editor's information.
Hi, Ali.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Ali. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm doing well. I'll give it to Milton and he can text it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can share it too on the podcast. So when someone's listening, this is your opportunity. It's a platform.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody's looking to get any books published, they can definitely reach out to me at Ali, ALI, at Brathwaite Publishing. That's BRATHWAITE publishing.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Ali.
He also do filmmaking too now.
There you go. See?
Film, feature films, documentary. So
okay, that's something I can hook you up. My son, he's in film school. He goes to Loyola Marymount University. He made his first film at 11. He's 19 now.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you never know.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, we want to say thank you all so much. We hope that you all had a wonderful MLK Day, and we thank you for joining us today and spending some time with us. We hope that we brought some sunshine, some nuggets of knowledge and wisdom to you today, but we just really enjoyed you being with us today. Milton, again, we appreciate you so much and looking forward to doing it again.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank y'all both very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Take care. Be blessed, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Milton.
All right.